What if I told you that you could make $50,000 in real estate without using any of your own money, without getting a mortgage, without even owning property? That is the wholesaling pitch, and it sounds perfect until you realize you are being taught to exploit people in financial crisis. Most deals fall apart before closing, and you might be breaking laws you do not even know exist. Jennifer Martinez sat at her kitchen table in Phoenix, Arizona, staring at the foreclosure notice for the third time that morning. 3 months behind on her mortgage, her husband had lost his job during the pandemic, their savings were gone, and the bank was not interested in hearing excuses. The house her parents had helped her buy 10 years ago, the house where her kids took their first steps, was about to be taken away. She had been crying so much lately that her eyes stayed permanently red and swollen. Then came the knock on the door. A young man, probably in his mid-20s, wearing a polo shirt and khaki pants, holding a clipboard. He introduced himself as Marcus, said he worked in real estate investment, and told Jennifer he had been driving through the neighborhood looking for homeowners who might be interested in a quick cash sale. Jennifer was not interested. She told him she was trying to work things out with the bank, but Marcus was persistent in a friendly way. He asked if he could just take 5 minutes to explain how he could help. Against her better judgment, Jennifer let him in. Marcus sat down at that same kitchen table and pulled out a calculator. He asked Jennifer how much she owed. $215,000. What did she think the house was worth? Maybe $350,000 based on neighbors' sales? Marcus nodded, tapped his calculator, then looked up with genuine concern. He worked with cash investors. No inspections, no appraisals, no bank approvals. They could close in 7 days, and Jennifer could start fresh. 7 days to end this nightmare. She asked how much. Marcus calculated, furrowing his brow like he was working hard for her. His investors could offer $240,000, all cash, 1 week closing. After paying off the mortgage, she would walk away with $25,000. Not much, but enough to rent an apartment, get the kids settled, start over. Better than foreclosure, better than destroyed credit, better than eviction. Marcus pulled out a contract. Several pages of legal language Jennifer did not understand. Purchase price, $240,000. Closing, 7 days. As is condition, no repairs. He said she should have a lawyer review it, but it was standard, and they needed to lock it in today because his investors had other properties to consider. Something felt rushed, but Marcus seemed so understanding, and 7 days to end this nightmare sounded like a miracle. She signed. The first sign something was wrong came 3 days later. Jennifer called Marcus to ask about the closing details. His phone went to voicemail. She called again. Voicemail. She sent a text. No response. By day 5, Jennifer was panicking. She drove to the address on his business card. It was a virtual office, one of those shared workspace places. Nobody there had ever heard of Marcus. On day 6, Jennifer got a call from a different person, a man named David, who said he was the actual buyer. He explained that Marcus was a wholesaler, that Marcus had assigned the contract to David's investment company, and that they would be closing tomorrow as planned. Jennifer was confused. What was a wholesaler? David explained simply. Marcus never intended to buy her house. He put it under contract, then marketed that contract to real investors like David. Marcus was making a fee for the deal. Jennifer felt sick. She asked how much Marcus was making. David paused, then said that was between them, but probably a decent amount since the property was such a good deal. She asked what David planned to do with the house, probably fix it up and resell it, or rent it out. He had not decided. The closing happened. Jennifer signed more papers, got her check for $25,000 after the mortgage payoff, and walked out of the title company feeling like she had just been robbed, but could not quite explain how. 2 months later, she was scrolling through real estate listings online, looking for apartments, when she saw her old house. It was listed for sale at $425,000. According to the listing, it had been lightly renovated. New paint, new flooring, updated kitchen. The listing agent was David. Jennifer did the math again. David had bought her house from Marcus for $240,000. He probably put $20,000 into renovations at most. He was selling it for $425,000. That meant David would make over $160,000 in profit after closing costs. And Marcus, the wholesaler, had probably made somewhere between $20,000 and $40,000 just for signing a piece of paper and making some phone calls. Jennifer had been 3 months behind on her mortgage. She was desperate. She was vulnerable. And two men she had never met before extracted nearly $200,000 of her family's equity using a business model called wholesaling. The worst part was it was completely legal. Marcus had not technically lied to her. He had not forced her to sign. He had simply found someone in crisis, offered a solution that seemed reasonable in the moment, and structured the deal so that he and his investor friend could extract maximum value while Jennifer got the minimum necessary to make her sign. This is wholesaling, and across America it is happening thousands of times every single month. So what exactly is real estate wholesaling, and why is it so problematic? A wholesaler finds a distressed property, gets it under contract at below market value, then assigns that contract to an actual buyer for a fee. They never buy the property, never invest their own money. They are purely a middleman extracting profit by controlling the contract. The real estate education industry promotes wholesaling as the perfect beginner strategy. No money down, no credit needed, no experience necessary. YouTube is flooded with 23-year-old kids in rented luxury cars claiming they made $40,000 last month wholesaling. And you can too, if you buy their course for $997. But here is what those courses do not teach you. Wholesalers target people in crisis: foreclosure, divorce, job loss, medical debt, probate situations. These are not sophisticated investors. These are ordinary people facing the worst moments of their lives. The wholesaling business model depends on finding these people before they can properly market their property or understand its true value. Getting a property under contract at below market value requires either the seller not understanding their property's value or being so desperate they will accept a lowball offer to end their pain quickly. Wholesalers are not creating value or improving properties. They are exploiting information asymmetry and emotional vulnerability. The assignment fee wholesalers charge is often hidden from the seller. Jennifer had no idea Marcus was making money until after closing. She thought he was the buyer. This lack of transparency is built into the wholesaling model. Most wholesaling contracts heavily favor the wholesaler and trap the seller. They include inspection contingencies, allowing the wholesaler to back out for almost any reason, but lock the seller in. They include assignment clauses giving the wholesaler rights to transfer the contract without seller approval. If the wholesaler cannot find a buyer, they walk away with no penalty. If the seller changes their mind or gets a better offer, they face a lawsuit. Most wholesale deals fall apart. For every wholesaler who closes one deal, 10 spend months getting contracts signed, but never finding a buyer willing to pay enough. When a deal falls apart, the seller has wasted weeks in contract, unable to market the property to others. If they were facing foreclosure, they are now even closer to losing the house. The wholesaler loses nothing but time. The seller's situation has gotten worse. Wholesaling exists in a legal gray area in many states. Some require wholesalers to have a real estate license because they are effectively acting as brokers. Most wholesalers operate without licenses, claiming they are principals because they have the property under contract. Multiple states have pursued unlicensed wholesalers for practicing real estate without a license. Attorneys general have investigated wholesaling operations for fraud. The Federal Trade Commission has issued warnings about wholesaling scams, but enforcement is inconsistent. Wholesaling is driving up housing costs for everyone when wholesalers systematically target distressed properties, buy them at below market prices, and resell at market prices. They extract wealth from communities while providing no value. They are not building new housing or substantially improving existing housing. They are inserting themselves as unnecessary middlemen. Every dollar that goes to a wholesaler is a dollar that does not go to the original homeowner, and every flipped property makes housing less affordable for regular families. The mathematics of wholesaling reveals its problem. A house worth $350,000 gets contracted for $240,000. The wholesaler sells the contract for $260,000, making $20,000. The investor renovates for $20,000 and sells for $425,000, making $140,000 profit. Total value extracted from the distressed seller, $185,000. That money could have gone to the homeowner if they had simply listed with an agent and sold on the open market. Wholesaling advocates argue distressed sellers need cash now, cannot afford to wait, and need quick solutions. This argument wraps truth in a lie. Yes, some sellers need to sell quickly, but the solution should not be a system allowing middlemen to extract massive equity from vulnerable people. Someone truly needing to sell quickly can list at a competitive price and get offers within days. The real estate education industry has created an entire ecosystem around teaching wholesaling, with courses costing from a few hundred to tens of thousands of dollars. The irony is that most gurus make more money selling courses than actually wholesaling properties. They understand the real money is convincing desperate people that wholesaling is financial freedom, charging them for education, then moving to the next batch of students. The typical student follows a predictable pattern. Excited by the pitch, they buy the course, get a distressed property list, start cold calling. Eventually, they get a property under contract. Then reality hits. Their buyers make offers too low to leave any assignment fee. The contract expires. After 3 to 6 months of grinding with zero income, most people quit. They have wasted thousands on education, hundreds of hours, and convinced nobody they are professional investors. The few who succeed at wholesaling succeed because they are willing to do things most people find morally uncomfortable. They are willing to knock on a widow's door and convince her to sell for half value. They are willing to call someone facing foreclosure daily until that person signs just to make the call stop. They are willing to manipulate emotional vulnerability. These are the skills that separate wholesalers who close deals from those who quit. Let us talk about the impact on communities. When investors systematically target distressed properties in a neighborhood, they extract wealth from that community. Jennifer's $110,000 loss could have been a down payment on her next home, college education for her kids, or retirement savings. Instead, it went to Marcus and David, who did not live in her neighborhood, did not care about her family, and moved on to the next deal. Multiply this by thousands of transactions monthly across the country, and wholesaling becomes a wealth extraction mechanism, taking money from working class families and concentrating it with investor class operators. Wholesalers often target specific neighborhoods, usually lower income communities or communities of color where distressed sellers are most common. This targeting has discriminatory effects. Black and Hispanic homeowners are disproportionately approached by wholesalers, disproportionately sell at below market prices, and disproportionately lose equity that could have been generational wealth. What about the argument that wholesalers provide valuable service by connecting sellers with buyers? Real estate agents also connect sellers with buyers, but they have legal obligations to act in clients' best interests, licensing requirements, and clear disclosure of compensation. Wholesalers have none of these protections. They are unregulated middlemen owing no fiduciary duty, operating with minimal oversight, profiting by keeping information hidden from people they claim to help. If wholesalers provide truly valuable service, why hide how much they make? Why are assignment fees rarely disclosed? Why pretend to be the actual buyer? Because if Jennifer had known Marcus would make $20,000 signing paperwork, while David made $140,000 with minor updates, she might have listed with an agent instead. Even paying 6% commission would have left her with significantly more money. The real estate investment community is deeply divided on wholesaling. Some defend it as legitimate business. Others view it as predatory. Those who defend wholesaling benefit from it. Those who criticize it see wholesaling as giving real estate investing a bad reputation. What almost everyone agrees on is that wholesaling involves finding vulnerable people and convincing them to sell assets at below market value. The disagreement is just whether that is acceptable business or exploitation. Jennifer's story did not end when she signed those papers. That $25,000 disappeared faster than expected. First month and security deposit ate up $12,000. Moving costs, furniture, school supplies, another $5,000. Medical debt, $3,000. Within 6 months, the money was gone, and Jennifer was working 2 jobs just to keep up with rent. Meanwhile, her old house was listed at $425,000 with brand new gray laminate floors and white subway tile. She drove by it once, about 3 months after she sold it. The for sale sign had David's face on it, smiling like he had just done everyone a favor. Jennifer sat in her car across the street and cried, not just because she had lost her house, but because she finally understood how thoroughly she had been taken advantage of. Not just by Marcus, not just by David, but by an entire system that had identified her moment of crisis and extracted maximum value from her vulnerability. The American dream had told her that homeownership was the path to building wealth. She had done everything right. She had bought a house, made her payments for 10 years, built up equity. Then one bad break, one job loss, one moment of financial stress, and all that equity was gone. Transferred to 2 men who had contributed nothing except showing up at exactly the right moment with contracts designed to trap desperate people. This is what real estate wholesaling actually is, not a business opportunity, not entrepreneurship. It is a system built on finding people at their most vulnerable and extracting maximum wealth from their crisis. The courses will not tell you this. The gurus will not admit it. But every wholesaling deal requires someone like Jennifer to lose so that someone like Marcus and David can win. That is not investing. That is predation wrapped in real estate terminology and sold as financial freedom to people who do not understand what they are really being taught to do. If this investigation opened your eyes to something you did not know before, hit that like button. This channel exists because I am tired of watching people get scammed by real estate gurus selling dreams that destroy lives. I do not sell courses. I do not promote schemes. I just show you the truth that the investment industry does not want you to see. Subscribe and turn on notifications because I am exposing more real estate myths, more financial traps, and more predatory business models that target everyday people. Join me in building a community that values honesty over hype and truth over profit. See you in the next investigation.